Club's finished, man. From top to bottom. Club is absolutely finished. It's in the bin, down the drain. And rightly so at this rate with the state of us, really, to be fair. Now, look, I do really want to make this video, but I feel like I've got to address a few things within the state of Crystal Palace, you know, on and off the pitch, from the fans to the players' mindset to why the fuck Roy Hodgson's still in charge, to why the hell Steve Parish hasn't sacked him, to what's going on within our board and that. And just to sum up the season pretty much, because this is just a dagger to the heart of Crystal Palace fans, not just what happened over the weekend, but the stuff afterwards, you know, some of the comments from journalists, pundits, the manager himself, Steve Parish, you know, hiding behind people like Dougie Freeman and Mark Bright like a coward, the players not apologising. I mean, I could go on and on pretty much, to be honest with you. No, look, I haven't really planned this video out very well, but I just thought I'd say what I've got to say, really, and just get straight to the point like I always pretty much do and speak the truth, really. Now, we're going to get relegated. That's a massive guarantee. That team is not a Premiership team one bit. We're going to get relegated, to be honest with you. I mean, it's been coming all season pretty much, you know, from the way, you know, we've lost games like to Everton, to Bournemouth, we lost to Luton. The minute we lost to Luton, I realised we're not just in for another tough season again, that we potentially are going to be in another tight, file, vicious relegation battle. Crazy right now, you know, with the whole situation at Palace, how much we're falling down the pecking order pretty much, to be fair in that. What could have gone wrong has gone ferociously wrong, and it's just been pure misery, not just kicking off 2024, but for this season. I can't think of any positive apart from us signing players like Munoz and Wharton, and maybe us beating Man United, and that's it. I can't think of any other positives. It's all been negative, it's all been depressing, and it's all just been humiliation pretty much most weeks, to be fair. The players and management and the board and that too, in my opinion, have simply given up. From their body language, from what they say to the fans and how they've been reacting, you know, they just look completely shell-shocked and shattered, and they're just not fit to do their jobs, you know. They ain't fit one bit, they're not up for it, man. They're just completely given up on themselves and that too. And, you know, I looked at the players, especially the way they played on Saturday. They looked soulless, spineless, and defeated, deflated, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like they didn't want to be there. It's like they knew the minute before the game kicked off that they just had no chance. They just completely just gave in, and they just couldn't be asked. You know, it's like they didn't want to be there. They looked like a bunch of individuals. I saw them get off the coach. All you could see were players with their heads down, listening to music, not communicating, not sort of like smiling whatsoever, not engaging or acknowledging some of the fans. A few of them did, but the other half of them never did. I'd say this, I think the players pretty much want Roy to go as much as we do. I generally think so. I generally think the players are just given up that badly, and they just can't even be bothered to apologise and voice their opinions towards the supporters and that. They've just given up, because Roy isn't going to inspire them. He's not going to motivate them. A 70-year-old plus manager, probably the oldest manager in the league in the world football, ain't going to bloody motivate a bunch of young, you know, ambitious players who want more for themselves, who want to do better. But then you've got to look at Roy Hodgson, who's stuck in 2001 still, whose tactics from 10 years ago are completely outdated to this modern day of age in football. Like, overall, I'll say we're probably in the three worst teams in the Premier League in this current season, between us, Sheffield United and Burnley. I think Burnley and Sheffield United are worse than we are, but I look at us, I mean, I look at the games we've lost to, like Brighton 4-1 in the manner we did and the manner we fell apart. Losing to teams like that, losing 5-0 to Arsenal, 4-0 away at Newcastle. You know, it's just, it goes on. We're getting battered. We're getting hammered. We're getting pastings most weeks, and we're just conceding too many goals. You know what I mean? It's just like, honest to God, we just don't learn from our mistakes. I've been saying that season in, season out. You know, we don't just come up with any like new ideas to resolve and fix the situation and fix the fucking problems. For me right now, the season's over. You know, a loss to the scum in the manner that we fell apart on Saturday, it's unacceptable, man. It's a disgrace. That pretty much has sent us down, in my opinion, already. People could be like, we still got 3-4 months of the season left to go, but we're done and dusted, man. Season's over. You know, we've been knocked out both cup competitions. We don't even look like we're going to get a top 15 spot right now, let alone top 10. Way, way, way off that. We're in a relegation battle, and at this rate, I think we're going to go down. It's a guarantee, to be fair. In 9 years of watching Crystal Palace, going from ground to ground, you know, supporting the team through thick and thin. This is the worst I've seen it. This is absolutely manic. It is just shambles, and it is an absolute fucking joke. The football we got to see week in, week out, the attitude and the mindset from some of the players on that pitch, you know, the results, the goals we're letting in, the soft, you know, the mistakes, the soft goals, like I said, we're conceding and shipping. It's embarrassing, man, and it's pathetic. It's an absolute mess, honest to God, to be fair. Now, I look at us and where we are in the table. We're 5 points from the bottom three. Luton got a game in hand and they're only, 17th in the table now. We got a goal difference of -14. -14 and counting our goal difference. That is a disgrace compared to how it's been over recent years, compared to how we somehow managed to start the season as the best defence in the league to go into, you know, going from that to the shittest defence in the league. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's just like, you got to question the management and the tactics, you know, given out to these players, man. Because it's not good enough. It's not doing any favours one bit. I look at the squads, you know, the likes of Eze, Elise, Gay, and obviously Doucouré's out long term. You know, these players, you know, picked up injuries recently and that. And, you know, it's just, we just got no luck really right now. But it's from our own downfall, really. You know, take them 4 players out, Eze, Elise, Gay, and Doucouré, which they are going to be out for months, weeks, long term with the injuries they've got. God knows what it is, really. Because they're playing, you know, they're being played too much. They're being played too much that, you know, you're not giving players like Amada, Franca, Ozo enough game time. You're having to play them, you know, for too many matches and that. And they're putting up injured every flipping minute, every week. Do you know what I mean? It's like Roy don't learn. Roy's not rotating the squad like he should be, you know. I mean, you take them 4 players out of the team. We are a championship side. A championship side that pretty much probably would be bottom of the flipping championship, you know. I mean, how we're not in the bottom 3 right now as we sit 14th in the table at the time of this recording is an absolute fucking miracle, to be honest with you. Honest to God, the squad depth has been absolutely just atrocious this season. From the first game to now, I mean, we've literally hit rock bottom and we're in the shit regarding our squad depth. It's not been good enough, and this highlights it pretty much, to be fair. Look, Roy, for me, has got to take full responsibility in not playing the youth and not playing these young, ambitious players, you know, that he should have bloody started weeks ago. They should have featured more often. I mean, imagine you playing an FA Cup replay and you put old players, old soul players that you're loyal to, the likes of bloody, I don't know, Schlupp and flipping Hughes and that, and you're dropping the likes of Franco and Amada. You're not even featuring them hardly in matches like that. You know, we're instead, you know, like I said, regarding the likes of Jeffrey Schlupp, who runs around like a sluggish amateur footballer you'd see at bloody Power League, and Will Hughes, who runs around like a headless chicken, whilst bearing in mind being played out of position, where he's been played as a cam over the last few weeks instead of his actual position. As a CDM and that, you play him there, he's still shit, so it don't really matter anyway. I mean, none of them players are good enough for the Premiership, in my opinion, to be fair. Like, make it make sense. Make it make fucking sense, do you know what I mean? But, you know, it goes back to when he made that comment, you know, in October about the youth, about the young players. Ever since then, I mean, you know, Roy's completely held a grudge. He's held a complete dirty grudge on the young players, you know, within our team. I mean, if you're a youth player looking at him, judging by what he's saying, what are you going to think? Why would you bloody want to play with a manager like that? Why would you want to represent a club with a manager who's making stingy, dirty, slimy little comments like that? If you're Jack Wells-Morrison, if you're the likes of Kamari Gordon, Raksaki, Franca, players like young players, whether you're in the academy or in the first team, and you got a manager saying stupid dickhead comments like that, you know, you wouldn't want to play for this club. You wouldn't want to be nowhere near here. Your confidence would be low. And I don't blame the players for feeling upset, you know, for feeling probably embarrassed because of a manager who doesn't really give a crap about, you know, any of them young players. He only gives a crap about his stinking ego. He only gives a shit about that. He don't care, does he? But this all falls down to the parasite himself, Steve Parish, a guy who spends more time crying to his wife and feeling sorry for himself for the shit he's caused this season, for getting it all wrong and that, you know, for screwing up in a manner that he pretty much has, to be fair, for Palace this season, you know, rather than trying to fix and resolve the issues on and off the bloody pitch. It's as simple as that. You know, I mean, he's kept Roy Hodgson on for far too long. He should have been sacked a couple months ago. How he hasn't been sacked yet, I will not know. You know, losing 5-0 wasn't bad enough to Arsenal, but losing 4-1 to your rivals, your greatest rivals, in the manner that we fell apart, and he's still in charge, don't make sense to me. It's ridiculous, man. If that was any other manager, they'd be out the door. He's kept Roy Hodgson on for far too long. Simple as. I mean, he was quick to sack the likes of, you know, past managers in Pardew, Vieira and De Boer and Holloway. But with Roy, it's like it's like he's kissing his ass too much, or he's too scared to sack him because of Roy's stinking ego, his legacy in the past at Crystal Palace and keeping us up, and what he's done at numerous clubs and that as well, to be fair. It's like he's scared to sack him. It's like he's afraid. It's like he's worried of losing a friendship with a guy who's almost 100 years old, for God's sake. The Parish has just absolutely had a stinker this season. He's had a stinker for the last 2 years, more than that pretty much. His failure over the last 10 years is going to get us relegated, pretty much. He doesn't even acknowledge the fans. He doesn't communicate it to the supporters. The last time he did so, he had that all-famous quote of saying we're going to go to the next level in May of last year. I mean, he literally became the biggest meme in world football, in my opinion. Literally. Oh, God. I look back at that and I'm just like to myself, what were you thinking? What were you watching? What was going on through your heads? It's just the next level. Because the next level, like I've been saying for the last month or so, is a championship at this rate. And that is definitely going to happen come August of 2024, come the end of this season when we'll be in the bottom three and relegated and done and dusted. Look, I look at the club right now. For me, the club has lost its identity. It's lost its passion, pride, desire, spark, dedication and love to the supporters and that really. The board members simply don't care. I mean, you could tell because they haven't sacked Roy Hodgson. They haven't refunded any of the Crystal Palace fans for that shocking, shitty performance that we had to witness on Saturday. Spending all our hard-earned money, spending all our time, giving up our time, I should say, to be fair, just to watch that shit. All them players should hang their heads in shame, man. They ain't fit to wear the shirt. Don't deserve to wear the shirt. They don't deserve to put on that shirt with a badge on it, man. They ain't playing for the badge. They're playing for themselves. Simple as that. All they care about is their wage, and that's it. And driving around in their fancy cars, going clubbing, living the rich life. That's all they care about, man. That's all they care about. They don't care about the club. They're not even loyal to the club, man. Half them players will be gone come the end of the season when we get relegated. Brighton game, I mean, when that third goal went in, killed the game. All the fans, well, not all the fans, some of the fans, the majority of them left at half time. Then, we're literally left when that third goal went in. And yeah, most of them left at half time anyway. And then people like me stayed 15 minutes into the second half. At least he gets injured. I mean, that decision was baffling. I mean, he surely must have known he wasn't fully fit. And then for you to bring him on and then he gets injured in less than 5 minutes. And then for you to throw your backroom staff, the medics, the people associated with, injured players and that, behind the scenes at Crystal Palace, for you to throw them and have to cheat to put them under the bus like you did, Roy, it's an absolute joke. At least they must have said he's fit. But if Roy, if you knew he weren't fit, why did you bring him on? And now he looks like he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, potentially longer, because it was the hamstring problem again. Bringing players back too soon, and now look what's happened. And that game was done and dusted at 3-0. You didn't have to bring him on. And he brought him on thinking we were going to thinking at least he was going to pull us out of the hat and score 3 quick goals. But no, in less than 5 minutes, he's crocked. And that sums up Palace for you. No luck whatsoever because of our own downfall, pretty much, to be fair. Honest to God. I mean, the fans you have to witness that who, spend their own money, like I said, and travel in their numbers, just to see a performance, which is absolutely fucking spineless, which was just weak-minded from the players on the pitch. Like I said, they were defeated. They ran out of energy, as Jurgen Klopp would say. The players literally ran out of energy. They weren't fully fit. They weren't ready. They weren't prepared one bit. They were absolutely gutless. It was just treacherous and painful to watch, man. I mean, you could tell the players don't give a damn. The majority of them, maybe apart from the likes of Eze, Gay and Elise, and some of the young players like Ozo and Water. But you could tell the players don't give a damn because when they came over to the fans and they started clapping, what really got me is they started moaning at the fans. The players started moaning at the fans, literally, because when we were putting up the banners and voicing our frustrations, they were just gesturing and flapping their arms around, rolling their eyes, getting all into a sulk and that. I mean, what do you expect when you lose 4-1 to your biggest rivals? Us to bloody start clapping you and praising you like you've won the title? Fucking hell, man. Do yourselves a favour. I think what got me was some of the fans clapping the players. You clapping the players for after losing 4-1 to bloody Brighton? No, I'm not having it, man. I ain't having it. Sort it out, man. A bunch of morons clapping the players after losing 4-1 to Brighton. Are you insane? It's like, Roy Hodgson and Steve Parish have brainwashed, some of the players and most people working behind the scenes at Crystal Palace, including the coaching staff in Ray Lewington, Paddy McCarthy. It's like they don't acknowledge or understand what's going on within the club, man. It's mental. No one's taking responsibility of the state of this fucking club right now. They're not seeing, the writing on the wall and the state of, how poor we've been over the last few months, really. Especially this campaign and that, to be fair. There's no apology from any of the players, Roy, Parish, None of the associates in the board, in Mark Bright and Dougie Freeman, no public statements. They're hiding behind each other, man, because they're cowards. They're scared. They're so fucking embarrassed to bloody come out and admit the truth. I can see the truth. Us fans aren't stupid. We speak the truth. We say how it is by protesting, by saying you're not fit to wear the shirt to the players, by saying we want Parish and Roy out. We know what's going on. But they clearly behind the scenes either do know what's going on and are scared to talk out, or just can't be bothered really, which shows a lack of ambition and passion and just shows laziness really, to be honest with you. Instead, we're being called spoilt, harsh and ungrateful from the gaffer, from some of the people who are associated in the Parish In Brigade, and from thick-headed pundits who are absolutely just off their heads and don't even know what they're talking about, in the likes of, what's his name, Chris Sutton and Harry Winter. You know what I mean? Twats who know fuck all about Crystal Palace, man. You don't even know deep down what it's like being a Palace fan. You don't know the details of what's going on in and out of the club, really, you know. They probably have never watched Palace within the last decade anyway, for Christ's sake. Honest to God, fucking idiots, man. Bunch of morons, mate. Honest to God. Like, people like that should be axed on football punditry, to be honest with you. Talking out their arse week in, week out. You know, you should put me on TalkSport instead and I speak more fucking sense than them two twats. Honest to God. You know, honestly, it's just like, I was looking at something on Twitter just hearing that as well. I'm looking at it right now. And someone comes out saying it's mad to think why everyone is suddenly qualified to question the club and the Palace fans, you know. And like most people have been saying on Twitter, I had a comment here and someone says here, no one outside his fan base could ever understand deep down on the current state of the club. And they're right, no one ever will. The only people that will are the fans. And maybe some of the players who have grown up within Crystal Palace, you know, like David Ozo himself. No one else understands or gives a damn. No one else is seeing it, you know, within the management, within the board, and some of the players on the pitch who have the audacity to start having a go at us supporters when we're in our right to protest because of how fucking shit they are. It's as simple as that. So honestly, from top to bottom on Saturday, from what I saw, was the worst I've seen in years. I think the last time it got that bad when I left the game that early was when we lost 4-0 to Sunderland back in February of 2017, almost over 7 years ago. Honest to God, this club is a disgrace from top to bottom. It is being absolutely victimised. It is being absolutely ripped to shreds by these mugs who haven't got a clue how to run this club, and an embarrassment to football ownership. It's being torn apart. The legacy and the desire that used to be at Palace, whether it was us going to Wembley, whether it was the cup final, us beating the likes of Manchester City and Arsenal regularly and that, it's all gone downhill. I've got no confidence of us being anyone in that league apart from maybe Burnley, and that's it, because we've already beaten Sheffield United twice. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if Luton beat us. It wouldn't surprise me if we get smacked up by a shitty Chelsea side or lose 2-3-0 away at Goodison Park like we do every season. You know, within the next few weeks of the matches we got coming up. We are absolutely finished. We got our best 4 players all out injured. And like I said, take them out of the equation. That team is not even a Premiership quality side. It is Championship standards minimum. I'd say that. So here's what I've got to say. Until we sack Roy, until we have a change in the board, until we sort our shit out, we're going to be like this nothing's going to change between now and the end of the season. And before you know it, like I said, we'll be in the Championship come the end of the season. And next season is just probably going to be just as bad, because when we get relegated to the Championship, we'll probably be struggling to stay up in that league as well, based on our financial situation and us spending most of our money in being the highest spenders in the January transfer window last month and that, you know. We've probably used all our money up for them players and the likes of Munoz and Wharton. It's not their fault, but we'll be bankrupt come the end of the season probably. We will be bankrupt. We will be screwed. We already are screwed. We're already finished. Simple as that. I've accepted the truth. I think the majority of Palace fans have. For people who still think we can stay up, clean your glasses, look around, take a look at yourself, have a look on Twitter, look into the club into full detail, what's really been going on, judging by the results, and you'll realise why I generally think we're going to be getting relegated and why it's definitely going to happen. It's as simple as that. Nothing's ever going to change. I've got no hope for this club one bit. I hate my club. I hate how it is right now. This ain't Crystal Palace. This means nothing to any of them players on that pitch anymore, apart from a certain few. But it's just gone absolutely downhill drastically. So, like I say, pray for Palace. What's going to change, man? What's going to change? What is Crystal Palace anymore, man?